It is better to be feared than loved if you cannot be both. You feel the air change when a clean truth enters the room. Conversation stalls, smiles tighten. People who were generous with flattery become precise with distance. Truth is not a compliment, it is a blade. You carry it to cut through fog, not to be applauded for its shine. When you speak plainly about costs, motives, and limits, you are not performing virtue, you are declaring rule. In noisy markets and crowded relationships, clarity is the only weapon that ends confusion quickly. And weapons, by their nature, draw blood. You want truth to be safe. You want it to reconcile everyone and heal every bruise. But in the world you actually live in, truth rearranges power first and feelings later. The prince does not use clarity to be admired. He uses it to stop drift, halt waste, and align behavior. He posts the price in large letters and refuses haggling. He says no with a full stop, not a paragraph. He makes fog expensive. People call that cold. It is not cold. It is governed. You have been taught to cushion your words, to add softeners and emojis, to turn a boundary into a poem about kindness. That performance buys moments, not respect. Clarity shortens the play and exposes the score. Who profits if you keep apologizing? Who gains when you drag decisions through 10 messages of maybe? The ones who prefer you indecisive. The ones who trade on your hesitation. When you choose ruthless clarity, you end their market. People say they love honesty. They mean they love pleasant honesty. They love truths that make them look wise and generous. They love stories that explain every failure as fate and every misstep as misunderstanding. What they actually fear are penalties, the quiet withdrawal of access, the price increase, the door that shuts and stays shut. Because of that fear, most truths remain muted until incentives demand them. Raise the cost of confusion, and tongues loosen. Tie rewards to results, and reports become specific. Think of the office where deadlines slip because we're all family. Hear the charm in those words and the invoice hiding behind them. Family is a story. Delivery is a penalty schedule. Or the relationship where we never fight, we just talk everything out. Notice how talking becomes a moat around every decision, a soft fog protecting bad habits. The moment you introduce consequence, less access, stricter cadence, a firm exit, the fog thins and behavior changes. Love did not fix it. Pricing did. The cost of clear seeing is personal. You will lose the chorus that clapped when you blamed fate. You will be called harsh by those who once fed on your delay. Accuracy is lonely in the beginning because it cancels the theater where you used to win applause. You will miss that stage, but you will not miss the bill. With clarity, your calendar empties of parasites. Your phone returns to silence. Your mind becomes a room with a door that locks. You worry that ruthlessness will harden your heart. It hardens your standards. That is different. You can be warm with people and cold with terms. You can greet a guest and still close the gate at sundown. Clarity is not cruelty. It is the refusal to subsidize chaos. When you stop flattering illusions, you lose noise and gain control. Control is not about crushing others. It is about ending your own self-betrayal. So you draw the line. You post the rules. You stop explaining your no to those who profit from confusion. You let fear do the quiet work that love refused to do. It deters trespass. And once the trespassers leave, love can walk in without armor. Peace does not come from being agreeable. Peace comes from a price list and a lock that works. Choose clarity over comfort. Men in general judge more by the eye than by the hand, for everyone can see and few can feel. You want to believe kindness is the map. You want to trust that warm words mean safe roads, and that the gentle voice at the table is the loyal one. But in the real city, comfort is a tactic. It softens you, slows you, and turns your vigilance into decoration. Reassurances are not always lies. They are often instruments. They keep you from changing the price, from enforcing a rule, from reaching for the lever that would shift the outcome. In a world of incentives, a soothing promise is cheaper than a delivered result, and cheaper goods sell fast. Comfort is often a strategy. Notice how the flattery appears right when accountability is due. A teammate who missed the deadline arrives with compliments about your leadership, then invites a quick sync next week. A vendor whose quality dipped sends a generous note about the partnership, urging patience while defects continue. A partner who ignored your boundaries becomes extra tender when you mention leaving. None of this is mysterious. Reassurances, compliments, and good intentions are used to secure compliance, extend access, and delay consequences. The pleasant tone is not proof, it is packaging. It aims your attention at the ribbon, not the bill. Follow incentives, not words. Ask, what does this person gain if I stay comfortable? If the answer is more time with my assets, less pressure from my standards, another cycle where they profit from my softness, the comfort is a tool, not a gift. In the courtroom of real life, the sentence is written by who pays a cost, not by who writes a poem about caring. Look for moves, not moods. Did the deliverable ship? Did the behavior change before the apology? Did the policy tighten after the promise? If not, you are being played by a pleasant fog. False love is engineered. It is not always conscious, but its parts are visible if you stand at the right angle. Selective honesty shows a curated truth. Small admissions to hide the larger pattern. A colleague confesses stress and shares a touching story, but never names the decision that created the mess. Theatrical remorse floods the room with feeling, tears, vows, big words like betrayal and trust, all arranged to pull you back into the same arrangement. Staged generosity arrives as sudden gifts, public favors, or timed help that appears precisely when scrutiny rises bait to make you relax your terms. The goal is not your well-being. It is continuity of access. Study the choreography. When you set a price, watch for the pivot to sentiment. I thought we were friends. When you ask for proof, expect hurt tones. After everything I've done. When you delay access, listen for moral fog. So, this is who you are now. None of these lines attack your facts. They attack your identity. If you accept that frame, you will defend your goodness instead of defending your terms. The engineer of false love wins by making you choose between being kind and being sovereign. Refuse the frame. Keep the price posted. Staged care flourishes where penalties are vague. Clarify the cost of missed standards, and the theater closes early. If someone truly values you, they adjust behavior before the curtain call, not after the review. That is the test. Change before praise. Improvement before hugs. Keep an eye on cadence. Real alignment happens quietly over time. Fake alignment erupts in displays only when you threaten to exit. Do not confuse noise with repair. Now study the ledger, the price of believing pretty stories. Time, months lost to meetings about meetings. Evenings given to rescuing a project that never planned to carry its own weight. Leverage. The more you absorb, the less your no matters. Once you prove you will cushion every fall, people start jumping without looking. Standards. Your rules erode by exceptions, each labeled temporary, until temporary becomes the culture. You wake to a calendar that belongs to everyone but you. You can measure the drain. How many hours did you spend explaining what you already priced? How many reminders followed apologies? How many second chances became policy? Convert frustration into numbers. Delays counted, dollars discounted, boundaries moved. The math does not care about stories. It reveals who profits when you choose comfort over clarity. Once you see the flow, strategy replaces outrage. You stop arguing about hearts and start adjusting terms. There is a simple correction. Tie rewards to results. Tie access to demonstrated reliability. Tie warmth to held lines, not broken ones. When the cost of confusion rises, fog lifts. Watch how quickly good intentions produce concrete behavior when your calendar closes at a fixed hour, when payment clears before delivery, when silence follows manipulation. This is not cruelty. This is hygiene. You are cleaning the air of perfumes that mask rot. In your personal life, apply the same rule. When someone loves you, they learn your shape. They respect your hours. They adapt to your boundaries, even when no one is watching. If they only perform care when an audience is present or when you threaten to leave, you are not loved. You are managed. Ask yourself, does peace increase when I enforce the line? If yes, that bond can hold. If chaos increases unless you subsidize it, you were never in a relationship. You were in a subsidy. None of this requires suspicion. It requires tests that anyone healthy can pass. Verify first, then trust. Do not gamble your life on theater. Make the city honest by making confusion expensive. The ones who hope to buy you with praise will call you cold. Accept it. They are mourning the end of a discount. What remains after the perfumes fade is simple, sturdy, and durable. Respect for terms that protect both sides. Follow the ledger, not the lullaby. You think you choose, but the hand on your choices was placed long ago, quietly, by hunger you refuse to name. Appetite makes you governable. You say yes to please the room. You say yes to avoid the stare that feels like winter. Approval becomes heat, and those who control the thermostat learn your seasons. A manager praises you publicly, then adds a small favor after the meeting. You extend your hours because you crave the glow. A lover withholds attention, then returns with sugar words. The relief feels like rescue. Status dangles a higher chair at the next table. You laugh at jokes you do not respect to sit near its light. Be precise. Which craving runs you? Applause, because you were invisible too long. Rescue, because you were the child who cleaned fires you did not start. Prestige, because a quiet life was mocked by loud rooms. Each appetite is a handle. Once gripped, it turns you with 2 fingers. Your adversaries do not need brilliance. They need only to feel for the soft spot and press. A discount here, an upgrade there, a compliment where your doubts echo. Suddenly your calendar belongs to someone else. Sovereignty dissolves not with a shout, but with a nod. Now find the patterns that sell you cheap. Over-explaining is the first. You compose essays to defend simple lines. You do this to buy safety from imagined storms. Every extra paragraph is a coupon code for your boundary. People learn that if they push, you will perform logic theater until you are too tired to hold the line. Next is chasing. You text more than you receive. You repeat yourself to prove worth. You follow up 3 times on an ask that should have been answered once, and with every ping you signal that your time is free inventory. Third is debt-seeking gratitude. You keep score of favors and expect reverence in return. When reverence does not arrive, you offer another favor to buy it. You do not look generous. You look cheap to rent. Picture a team project. You volunteer to fix the mess because chaos triggers your old fear of being blamed. You stay late, patch the holes, and the next week the same people hand you the same bucket. Your excellence became a mop. Or picture dating. You perform availability on command because the silence of not being chosen awakens an old ache. You deliver presents like a 24/7 store, then wonder why no one values the goods. Availability without scarcity invites disrespect. Or picture social media. A stranger flatters your work, hints at connections, and asks for free consulting just this once. You say yes to keep the glow alive and teach them what your time costs. Nothing. You do not need therapy speak to fix this. You need operational discipline. Close the doors your past left open. Replace raw need with protocol. Start with boundaries. Write them where you can see them, not as inspiration but as law. No urgent replies after 7 p.m. 2 follow-ups, then I exit. No work without deposit. No access without reciprocity. The value of a boundary is not the poetry of its wording. It is the certainty of its enforcement. You are not cruel when you enforce. You are consistent. Consistency tells the city who governs. Next, verification. Trust is not a gift. It is a receipt. Ask for evidence before belief. In the office, that means past delivery, not potential. In romance, pattern, not promise. When someone says they changed, look for repeated behavior across weeks, not a sunrise speech. Verification does not make you cold. It makes you accurate. Accuracy is kindness to your future self. Then, time delays. Instincts trained by wounds feel like sirens. They demand now. Install a pause everywhere you once rushed. 24 hours before big yeses. 10 minutes before angry replies. A night of sleep before taking on extra weight. Delay is a filter that shakes out impulse buyers of your attention. The ones who cannot wait for your answer plan to spend you. The ones who can wait are worth considering. Your tempo is a tax. Make it expensive to access you fast. Build small rituals that keep you sovereign. A weekly audit. What did I do because I was hungry? And what did I do because it served my plan? A gate at the start of each day. 3 priorities, no more. A payment rule. Work that touches your core skills is never free, even for friends. Discounts are a formal line item, not a secret shame. Each ritual is a lock on an old door. Hear it click. That sound is power returning. Expect pushback. People who benefited from your wounds will call your standards selfish, your delays arrogant, your verification mistrust. They are mourning access, not justice. You do not owe anyone a return to the era where you were easy to move. State your terms once, repeat twice, exit on the 3rd. The 4th communication is silence. When the handles fall away, you will feel a strange quiet. No more scrambling to repair everyone's weather. No more chasing applause that evaporates by morning. In that quiet, you might feel grief. You will miss the old rush of being needed, and the fiction that proximity was love. Let the grief pass like a storm over a fortified city. Inside the walls, life becomes simple. Who pays the price stays, who refuses the price leaves. This is not cynicism, it is clean love, chosen, measured, and mutual. Your adversaries will still test you. They will tap the old doors to see which ones rattle. They will offer the exact flavor of praise you used to crave, the exact urgency you used to obey. Smile at the echo. The door is shut. Your appetite is fed by your own work now, not by their crumbs. You are not anti-love. You are anti-leverage against yourself. You are not hard. You are structured. Structure is how tenderness survives without being sold. The city-state of your life does not need to dominate others. It needs to master its gates. The banner over those gates reads, "I am not moved by hunger. I am moved by policy." You designed the policy when you stopped asking to be chosen and started choosing yourself with rules. That is the quiet Machiavellian fix. Not louder speeches, not grand vengeance, but procedures that make manipulation unprofitable. You will still feel, you will still care, but you will not be governed by old appetites wearing new masks. Feed your law, not your hunger. The mirror cracks, and the room forgets your name. What you called yourself was a costume stitched by comfort, a banner hung over a city you never truly governed. The storm does not begin with thunder. It begins with a thin line in the glass, a quiet proof that your life was run by a story, not a state. You feel the fall when a polite lie you've repeated for years refuses to leave your mouth. Your own voice betrays you. You hear the script soft excuses, flexible deadlines, promises that sounded kind because they cost you everything. The glass spiderwebs. Applause drifts away. People who loved the performance look for the next show. In the sudden silence, you see the cage. Your narrative dressed up chaos as kindness. It told you that understanding people meant never charging them. It said love equals access. It marked surrender as empathy and called it noble. But the storm is not sentimental. It arrives to put the city under audit. Picture the office. You believed the myth of the family team. Deadlines slipped because harmony felt more humane than teeth. When revenue missed, you organized a morale day instead of enforcement. The month bled. Picture the relationship. You thought never fighting meant peace. Silence became a moat around bad habits. Your open door was sold back to you as devotion. Every exception taught the city, there is no sheriff here. The sky darkens. The wind lifts the corners of your paperwork, the ones without signatures, terms, or collateral. Now the storm moves in. Suppliers ask for extensions you can't afford. The person you adore treats your time like a reservoir that never runs dry. A friend borrows your name in rooms you built, then forgets to mention you when the bill arrives. Panic spikes not because truth is cruel, but because truth is counting. It shows you the budget you refused to draft, the hours you loaned without interest, the favors written on air. It holds up a ledger and points to your signature on every waiver of standards you issued. Collapse feels personal, but it is mathematical. When the numbers wake up, the lights flicker on the old stage, and the set begins to fall. You want to bargain with the storm. You promise you'll be softer, nicer, smaller, if it will pass. Storms do not bargain. They respect structure. They pass for no one. They pass over what stands. Stabilize with rules, not moods. This is the hour to write a constitution. Not a poem about who you hope to be, but laws for a city that intends to last. No urgent replies. Urgency is the smuggler's path into your gates. Alarms are sent to skip your price. Let alarms ring outside. No unpriced favors. A favor without terms is a loan without paperwork. The borrower calls it friendship until the repayment date arrives. Write the price. No promises without collateral. A promise that costs. Nothing to break is a sentence written in fog. Put weight behind words or don't speak them. You will want to comfort yourself with speeches. Don't speak in rules. Post them where you can see them and where the city can hear them. 12-hour response windows. Deposits before labor. 2 follow-ups. Then you leave the table. Even love obeys the gate. Recurring access must match recurring contribution. This is not cruelty. These are levees after a flood. They do not keep love out. They keep rot from pretending to be love. Practice enforcement in small, unromantic moves. End the call on schedule, even if the story is sad. Return the project until the deposit clears, even if the client flatters your genius. Let the message sit overnight, even if your pulse hammers like a drum in a siege. Each enforcement is a brick in a wall. 1 brick looks like nothing. 10 bricks look like intent. 100 bricks become a city that outlasts weather. Your moods will attempt a coup. They will whisper that laws make you rigid, that good people do not need rules. Remember who taught you that those who flourish when you improvise. Governance saves you from your finest speeches. When morning hits your posted laws, you will feel a clean hardness where panic used to live. That is not bitterness. That is structure. Now, audit your alliances. You don't need rage for this. You need a ledger. Who held standards when you enforced yours? Who grew quiet when you priced your time? Who produced before praise, not after it? Keep those. Who required elaborate explanations to do what they already owed? Who called your rules cold while never paying costs themselves? Move them outside the inner gate. Think of the colleague who thrives when you carry the weight, who brings flowers and leaves you the invoice. Their loyalty is to your labor, not your law. Think of the mentor who answers with clarity, even when you dislike the answer, who shows receipts instead of applause. Keep that one, near the council chamber. Think of the partner who respects your hours, adapts to your cadence, and does not need a spectacle to comply. That is an ally. The crowd that cheered your softness will miss the old theater. Let them miss it from the other side of the wall. Perform triage without opera. You don't owe parting speeches that explain your soul. You owe doors that close with a click anyone can hear. Reduce meetings. End ambiguous arrangements. Replace "we'll see" with a date and a condition. Move 3 names to the front, 5 names to the outer ring, and let the rest live at the edge where they cannot reach your stores. In a month, the weather of your life will change. Not warmer, not colder, clearer. Panic will try one last surge. It will play the music of nights when the lights were gold and the laughter easy. Do not hate those nights. But do not run the city for nostalgia. The Constitution is for storms to come. The point of law is not to erase feeling, it is to protect feeling from auction. After enforcement, the love that remains has weight. It can carry a season. It stands without your apology. You stand in a quieter room. The mirror is broken, but the window opens. Rain washes dust from the street. Your name is no longer a costume. It is a seal on paper that matters. You do not need the crowd to look back. You need the guard to stay awake, the books to balance, the gates to open and close on time. You do not need to be feared. You need to be believed when you speak the law. Belief is earned by consistency. Consistency is paid for in moments when you would rather explain, soothe, or beg the weather to be kind. Pay the price. Keep the law. This is the hinge. The old you begged the sky for mercy. The new you builds roofs. The old you turned pain into long speeches. The new you writes short rules and lives by them. The city learns. The storms come, they always do. They pass over what stands. Write the law, then live it. You called it love because it felt warm. But warmth without structure is weather, not shelter. What you lived in was an arrangement of incentives, fears, and access dressed in soft words. When you switch on the light, you see the ledger under the flowers. Who paid, who collected, who was allowed, who was forgiven. Clarity does not kill love. It kills the story that kept you cheap. Affection versus alignment. Affection is a mood. Alignment is a commitment under cost. Real loyalty does not melt when the bill arrives. It keeps the promise when the price rises. It respects posted hours when desire wants doors open. It brings proof before praise. Everything else is appetite in costume. Appetite says, I want you, meaning, I want the parts of you that feed me. Alignment says, I adapt to your terms because I value you more than the shortcut. Check the moments when costs rose. Did deadlines tighten and quality follow? Or did compliments multiply while standards slipped? Did your partner honor your protected time? Or did they rename your boundary as coldness until you broke it to calm the room? Love that collapses when prices increase was never love. It was a discount. Discounts attract crowds, not commitment. You are not a festival stall. You are a city with gates. Respect first, warmth second. Order matters. People obey power and penalties more reliably than promises. If you lead with warmth, you train others to negotiate with your kindness. When you establish boundaries and consequence first, kindness becomes safe. It does not erode the foundation because the foundation does not yield to pressure. Set the frame. Here are the hours. Here is the price. Here is what happens when terms are ignored. Then, inside that frame, be generous laughter, touch, favors that do not mortgage tomorrow. But never invert the order. A garden grows inside walls. Without walls, it becomes grazing land for passers-by. Romance without governance is a picnic on a Machiavellian highway, pleasant until the traffic returns. Governance does not poison love, it preserves it from erosion by whim and drama. Choose terms, not wishes. Wishes are clouds, terms are stone. Write your cadence. 2 response windows per day, not a live feed of your attention. Define access windows. Who can reach you? For what issues? In which channel? List deal breakers as enforcement points, not speeches. Missed payments trigger pause. Raised voices end calls. Public disrespect removes access for a fixed period. Test every term. A rule that never fires is theatre. A rule that fires cleanly teaches the city how to behave. Make the tests boring. Ask for deposits before labor, even when you trust the person. Trust is not an exemption from structure. Delay replies, even when you want to impress. Your tempo sets your market. Decline urgent requests that arrive without proof. Urgency is the oldest trick to bypass price. Offer kindness inside the rules. A small bonus for early payment. Extra attention after months of consistency. Flexibility that grows with demonstrated reliability. Reframe the past without bitterness. You called every generous feeling love. You forgave breaks in the law because you were afraid to look strict. You accepted apologies in place of repair because you confused words with weight. You feared being alone more than being used, so you let access float on mood. The fog was profitable for others and expensive for you. The reframe is simple. Stop negotiating with feelings, start negotiating with terms. Feelings then become clear water inside a canal, not a flood that erases your map. Expect the complaints. Modern life says rules are unromantic and lovers should be available at all hours if they really care. Availability can be a bid for control. People who fear standards will call standards cruel. They are not describing you. They are describing their dependence on your softness. You are not closing your heart. You are closing the loopholes that let chaos use your heart as a shortcut. When you operate with terms, some people will leave. Let them. They came for a discount and found a price. The ones who stay will relax inside your walls. They will bring their own rules and meet you at the gate with receipts. On-time delivery, clean speech in conflict, care shown in behavior, not declarations. Affection warms faster when respect is present. Touch lands deeper when trust is not on life support. You did not lose love by insisting on order. You lost fantasy. What remains can become real. Love that survives pricing and penalties is love that can raise children, build companies, and carry the winter without breaking into panic plays. It moves like a steady river through a stone channel, not a flood that steals your rooms to prove it is powerful. If someone calls this rigid, watch their life for leaks. If someone calls this cold, ask who benefits when your fire burns without a hearth. Stand in the doorway of your new terms and look at the road. The old you waited for a perfect traveler with perfect manners. The present you posts the route and welcomes those who can walk it. You do not need to be adored. You need to be aligned. When alignment is in place, affection becomes honest, not hungry. It stops asking you to betray yourself to keep the room warm. Respect first, then love that lasts. The noise fades, and for the first time you hear the city breathe. You wake to a phone that does not command you. Fewer messages, cleaner threads, decisions that close without drama. This is not luck, it is law. You posted terms, you enforced them, and the world adjusted. Respect arrives the way sunrise does, quiet, regular, undeniable. People who played fog now speak in specifics. People who valued access now value your time. The constant hum of crisis lowers to a steady tone you can think inside. Quiet power looks like this. Meetings start on time and end when the work is done. Invoices clear before. Delivery, so generosity can be a choice, not a pressure valve. The urgent label no longer opens your gates. Proof does. Instead of juggling 10 promises, you carry 3, and all 3 land. Even affection changes shape. It becomes deliberate, not hungry. You talk less and understand more. Your silence is not distance, it is signal. It says, I am busy building, so enter only with purpose. Partners feel the difference. A client who once negotiated in compliments now negotiates in numbers. A friend who used to borrow your weekend learns to ask on Tuesday, offer something in return, and accept no without a bruise. Your calendar holds long blocks of deep work and longer blocks of real rest. You stop apologizing for either. Calm is not an accident. It is an expense you chose to pay up front by refusing chaos its favorite subsidy, your attention. Now build a just domain. Standards that protect you must also protect the people inside your walls. Write terms that any healthy person can read and follow. If penalties exist, they are clear and proportional. Late delivery triggers a fee, not a feud. Disrespect ends the call and schedules repair, not revenge. Post visible rewards. Early payment earns priority placement. Steady behavior earns flexibility during rare storms. When the rules benefit both sides, trust compiles like interest, slowly and then suddenly. Magnanimity is not softness, it is surplus. Because you no longer bleed for every ask, you can be generous without resentment. You can add value where it matters, instead of throwing favors into a void. You can mentor the young without becoming their engine. You can love without becoming an alibi for someone else's delay. Justice in your domain is simple. No special pleading, no private doors. Everyone, including you, pays the posted price. Dignity follows structure the way a shadow follows light. Do not mistake peace for stillness. The world continues to move, to test, to tempt you back into noise. You will be offered shortcuts that skip your process. You will be praised for being flexible when flexibility means erasing your own line. Smile and keep the frame. Peace is not a river you found. It is a canal you built, with locks you manage, with water you measure. When floods come, your gates hold. When droughts come, your stores last. This is governance, not romance with order. This is how good years compound. You will be tempted to tell long stories about your transformation. Resist the theater. Let results do your speaking. People notice when your no is clean, when your yes arrives with receipts, when your face does not change because your terms did not change. Those who require chaos as proof of passion will drift. Those who respect law as proof of care will thrive near you. You do not chase either. The city runs on schedule, and the schedule sorts them. Make the vow that anchors all others. Say it to yourself before the day begins, when the market is loud, and the old you would have reached for rescue. You will not trade clarity for a spike of warmth. You will not sell tomorrow to make someone comfortable tonight. You will not reopen closed gates for nostalgia, pity, or flattery. You will be kind inside your rules and ruthless at your borders. You will choose what lasts over what sparkles. You do not hope for peace anymore. You choose it. You choose it in the price you enforce, in the cadence you keep, in the allies you reward. The crowd may not cheer this choice. Let them keep their volume. You have something better: quiet power, just terms, and a life that answers to law, not weather. The city breathes because you govern. Never trade clarity for comfort.